So between 2017 and 2018, when Operation Vanguard was rife, okay, we saw the level of turbidity improve. Okay, so for instance, I remember one of our trips that we did with our board members to Bonsa. Um, if, for instance, at the time we were using, let's say, 12 bags of a certain chemical for every 1,000 cubic meters of production, it got to a point where they had reduced it to around five and less. Okay, that was when this thing Galamsey was rife. Sorry, Operation Vanguard was actually working, and in all our treatment plants within that area, you see the graph, and then you see that around that time the chemical usage was going down, and then after 2018, it changed. 2019, it changed. Okay, so then we are seeing the increase again, and now it's terrible. And like I said this morning on the bulletin that I've seen on our director's platform, it's indicating that in Chebi, for instance, the levels the turbidity levels at 3,250 this morning, which means that the plant could shut down any moment. Yeah, by itself, because it's automated.
And if the plant shuts down, it means the residents, those who rely on it, won't get water.
Won't get water.
And it means if it doesn't come down for the plant to start operating again, throughout that period, it becomes a challenge for them.
It becomes a serious challenge.
So the situation is very, very serious.
It's terrible, actually. I wish we could get more serious words than serious and terrible. Because seriously, when you take, let's say, if you fetch a bottle of water, it's thicker than the thickest tea that you can think of, or like Ghana soup. The thickest, like a thick Ghana soup, you know. And it's all fine sand and stone particles. Okay, and one dangerous thing are intake pumps. Okay, for instance, if you see the size of pumps, the height is about 3 times your height and about 3 times your waist level. Okay, and they are custom made. They are not the shelves that you can just go to the shelves and just pick the pumps. Okay. Now these pumps are built to abstract water. Okay, but now it's abstracting sand and stone particles. Okay, so the equipment or the pumps are filled with the stones and then the sand. So it becomes very difficult for the pumps even to work. Now, what happens is that we have always had to shut it down to clean or to service these pumps. So instead of, let's say, servicing them like once or twice in a month, just like we do to our vehicles, now we have had to do some of these things almost on a weekly basis. So we have had to shut down almost every week, like 2 or 3 days, in order to service these intake pumps. Other than that, they cease and then they can't function. Last year, November 2020, our intake pumps at Sechahima, for instance, all 3 of them ceased at a go. Okay, and we had to struggle to replace them within a very short time. Fortunately, we had some spares that we need to change some of them, but then the entire for all 4 pumps at the intake had to be replaced with new ones. Okay, so and they're very expensive. Okay, I mean, millions of dollars per each pump, and if you have to change pumps on pumps that have a lifespan of more than 20 years, you have to change them in less than 5 years. Then you can imagine the situation in which we find ourselves.